All right, we are live. Office hours. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody, to Office Hours. Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks to all of you who are on here or tuning on or watching the replays. We have got a lot of good things happening with Creative Cash Partners. We're the proud owners of a new house. Happens sometime in the world of lending, but it's okay as long as you have underwritten it well and you have the strategy and the ability to take back the house and either just sell it as is or do the rehab. That's what we're doing. So we've got a project. It's penciling out to be really well with the numbers. So we're gonna have to tell you later exactly how that goes, but we're excited about that. We've got our lake house in Minnesota about to be approved, and that one's going to be happening quickly as well. So a lot of good things happening, new reach outs. I just talked to somebody from the last PML mastermind about them deploying more capital. So a lot of good things happening. Alejandro, how you doing? Thanks for joining us on here.
Hey Eric, Justin, how are you two doing?
Good. Have I met you yet, Alejandro?
We spoke over the phone once a few weeks ago. It was about a property in Atlanta. I don't know if you remember that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Awesome.
yeah. But I talked to Justin earlier this week about RV parks because the last time I was in office hours, he told me you two wanted to do lending on those properties. So I've actually been going out, seeing who needs money to acquire an RV park. And I do have a prospect that I met with like an hour ago, and I told them about you two, and they are interested. The person I spoke with, he and his partner were on the meeting. The partner is the one with the experience. So they essentially, I gave them the spiel about what you two lend on. There has to be someone experienced involved. Uh, Interest rate starts at 12% and 1 point. And they they want to meet. They currently hold a $100 million portfolio for RV parks, and the one they're currently looking at is outside of Houston with 132 units at a purchase price of 1.9 million, with a 10% cap. And so, yeah, they have I think it's about 10 parks. I think 10 parks in total, and they they just wanted me to get back to them on to see when we could possibly set up a meeting between you two and them to learn more. And there were some questions that I wasn't able to answer just because I know Justin communicated to me that the loan terms, even though they start at 12%, it can vary based on risk profile, experience, and performance of the park. So I did emphasize that. So I didn't want to give them like any hard numbers or anything.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I appreciate you connecting with them. We'd love to see what they've got and hopefully help close a deal with them and get it funded.
Yeah, they were looking to see if we could get a meeting set up either later today or tomorrow. I don't know what your availability is like those days, but we can talk about it later.
Yeah, I mean, we do have at least one, maybe another closing happening today. So there is a lot of stuff going on. If theirs isn't like an urgent thing where it needs to close right away, I would see if it wouldn't be possible for them to pencil some time in on Monday.
And I would
Potentially.
also add to that. I think it's really good, especially with these larger asset classes. Relationship is astronomically more critical than in a fix and flip. So, I think it's going to be a lot less likely that Eric and I are just going to say, "Oh, you need an RV park funded next week. I don't know who you are, but let's like speed date, like the speed tour guy, right? You've seen the guy on Instagram, speed tour. We don't do that. with operators of RV parks. This is not a speed tour kind of situation. So
Mm,
the operators are key, and they are frankly almost more important than the park itself.
for sure. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
don't feel a sense of urgency to hop on a call with them and be like, oh, let's figure out how to like crush this one through.
Yeah.
I get to know them.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I didn't get a sense of urgency from them
Perfect.
either. So I'll let them know I'll ask
Yeah.
them what their availability is on Monday, and yeah, I'll report back to you. I can text you about that. But just making sure I covered my bases on that. Just one thing I did want to ask you, how long have you been loaning on RV parks?
We started last year. We did 2 last year with one very seasoned operator that we'd gotten to know over how many months, Eric? Like
Several months
6 months,
easily.
something like that. I don't know. We spent some time getting to know them, and then we invested in the first one. We very quickly thereafter invested in the next one, and we've invested another 5 million with them again this year. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
but again, we got very confident in their ability to perform.
I've just been I've been joining all the Facebook groups with RV parks, and just hoping to get you guys some deals. It's pretty fun.
That's good. Love it.
Cool. Love to hear it.
Yeah, of course.
Mr. Eric Gridonis, thank you for joining us here. It's been a while since we've seen your smiling face, but glad to have you on here.
Good to be here. Good morning, Eric, or afternoon, wherever you're at.
Yep. It sounds good. What's the latest with you and your crew, Eric?
What? Just building a game plan for next year. Not too much exciting stuff going on in my world. Just doing some boring stuff with some nice returns. That's it.
Yep, that's the name of the game of private money lending. First position liens, boring stuff, but makes the money. I've done several second position liens on very not boring stuff that made a lot of money, but that was quite the headache and hassle kind of lifestyle that I'm not really keen to keep living.
You're spot on.
Yep, very good. We've got Mr. Jeff Honecker that hopped on as well, live from Charleston, West Virginia. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been doing my homework.
Love it.
All the delinquent tax stuff that's getting ready to be sold on auction. So I'll be hunting them this weekend probably. 2 of them are they're deceased. I don't know if they have any heirs yet, but I will find out soon enough.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can. I really believe in that strategy for Charleston specifically, because you can spend so much time and so much energy and money and effort rehabbing properties there, but there's a limited return based on the ARVs there. So if you get a great spread, yeah, it can still make sense and everything, but there's so many people where there's a lot of homes that are available that they're just going to lose the tax auction, and there's really not that many investors like you. So these families are either going to get $0 in their pocket because it just goes to the tax auction, and sometimes the heirs didn't even know about it. Oh, it was their uncle, their grandpa, whoever owned the property. The heirs never even found out. Just later it goes to tax auction, they get nothing. Whereas you could have put $10,000 or $20,000 in their pocket, another $5,000, $10,000, whatever, to pay off the tax liens, which you can negotiate down with the city, by the way. Tell them, hey, I've got to pay it right now, negotiate it down. And then find a property that would sell on the open market for $70K, $100K as is, whatever. People are doing this strategy and doing really well with it. So I'm excited to see and accompany your journey and give some tips here and there and see how you can keep doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Does anybody else have any questions or comments, anything they want to bring up about what's going on in their business or their real estate or private money lending questions before we hop to something else?
I'm done. Ask. What do you think about slow flips?
Oh, that is a good question. I think slow flips can be incredibly profitable if the home is in a good condition. Yeah, go ahead.
I was approached by a gentleman who we did a Zoom call, and his markets are Illinois and Missouri. And of course, you know, they go on Zillow. His criteria is $50,000 or less as far as, you know, what he's looking for. And he was showing me on a screen share what he does. And obviously he makes sure that everything is operable, meaning, you know, the AC, HVAC, everything. And I was like, wow, this is like heaven for those of us who've done rehabs and dealt with contractors, because, you know, contractors can be a freaking nightmare. So, oh gosh. So I went through the regular due diligence. She did. How long have you been doing this? How many have you done? Do you have any buy and sell HUDs that you can offer? Do you have any leases? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I need to know that you've been doing this a while and you know what you're doing, etc. So we're at the beginning stages, and you know, we've already went past give him his ID, the deals he's looking at. So I sent him an email back, said, halt right here. What we need to do is step by step. I got your ID. I need references. I need some buy and sell, you know, step by step. We don't need to get into that deal yet. We're not basically trying to tell them, I need to know that that you know what you're doing. You are who you say you are, and that we're going to do everything through a title company, you know, legitimate. So any experience you guys have with this, or any don't do whatever's to it, because it is first position. I made that clear to him. That's the only way I would touch it. So let me know what you think.
I think you're muted.
No?
No, not
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Kim.
Kim.
Yes. Kim.
Kim. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hi. I am doing the slow split model as well, and I've done both sides. I started off as Linden. I did that for about a year and a half, and then this year I started buying properties. I have 5 properties in Decatur now, and I got tenant buyers in 4 of them. My 5th one, working on trying to get somebody in there. But it's definitely it's a good model. I mean, if you're looking to do private money lending, it's easy money. You know, I get my check every day. I'm not every day. I wish it was every day. Every month. Yeah. And it's easy money.
I was looking at it that way too, but I'm relationship based. I do have another private money deal that's kind of in the works. I'm from mobile homeland, but I do stick built too. And the person that I'm going to be dealing with has been in my mobile home arena for many, many years. I know of him. He has his own dealership. He's an installer, all that good stuff. But him and I, many months ago, we did a Zoom meeting and we talked about the criteria. And he was basically telling me, I'm going to give you this, everything that I would have wanted. He already said, you know, this is what I want to give you. And it basically showed me that, you know, he's on the up and up, but then I guess I don't trust anybody, you know.
Yeah. I totally understand, because that's how I was really skeptical. But the only reason why I felt comfortable with the slow flip is because I know Scott Gimlin, the one that's actually that coined that phrase, I guess. I studied under him, and that's how I got into investment. But at the time, I was crazy. I wanted to do flips and wholesale and all that other stuff. I wasn't looking at residual income. And here it is. I think that was back in 2016. And so then it took me till 2023. So it took me 7 years to finally think, oh, this might be a better deal.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. You know, he told me that, and I was like, well, I've been on the other end where I had to get the contractors, and oh my gosh, it's a nightmare within themselves.
Right.
You eliminate the nightmare, and then he was, you know, telling me, I told him, give me an example of what you do with it. How much do you ask for a down payment, monthly payments? And, it was reasonable, like $2,000 or $3,000 for down payment because of that market. And the monthly payments were really reasonable. And that he would be flexible as far as, either monthly payments to me or they're part of the equity as well. So that's why I want to throw it out there to see if there's any crazy things I need to look for, any nightmare stories, because it seems like a good deal.
Yeah.
Just just as long as you have the paperwork, you make sure you have your promissory note, your mortgage.
Oh, yes.
I get a lender's title insurance, and also the property insurance as
Yes, ma'am. All of that.
and some people do personal liability. Personal
Guaranteed.
what's that?
Mhm.
Yeah, right. So but as long as you have all of that, we typically don't go through a title company. But my last house, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm thinking about my tenant buyer. I'm sorry. For my lender, yes, we do. We and in that area in Illinois, that's where I'm at. I go through Jeff. Can't think of his last name right now, but goodness, Jeff. But anyway, we usually use a couple of different title companies, but the one I usually use, his first name is Jeff. I can't think of his last name right now.
I need to reach out to you then, because one of them, he does his other territory is Illinois, so you could be very helpful in that because I'm Georgia. So
okay, yeah, I'm in Virginia, so.
I'm sorry, but no, it sounds good. I just wanted to throw it out there and think, it sounds good, but what are the potential pitfalls? I don't want to be stupid.
So the worst case is if he stops paying you, you get the house, and then you can go ahead and rent it out and get $800 a month or whatever. So that's to me, that's as long as you got everything in place to in case that he defaults on it, then the worst case is you're gonna get your monthly salary, your monthly income for 5 years. The best case is if he defaults and you get a house that's worth more than what you invested in.
Okay, well, thank you. And Eric, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I know that there are people doing really well with this strategy. I would be careful about several things there. The house, the lower the value the house is, the harder it is to get your money back from just the flat costs. So, for example, if it costs $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 for a foreclosure, it doesn't matter if it's a $500,000 house or a $50,000 or a $30,000 house. You got to pay the fees to do the foreclosure and get the property back, no matter what. And that on properties of that size and value, just be really, really careful that you don't run into kind of the same thing that investors on very, very affordable type of housing have run into, where the cash flow is amazing for the first several years and then negative after that. Like for example, if I went to the cheapest possible homes in Ohio, Detroit, Indiana, like if I just got the dirt cheap 20, 30K homes, I could buy them and rent them out and make positive cash flow because they're so dang cheap. I could make positive cash flow year after year, but the expenses absolutely eat you alive. Even if the AC is working now, even if the roof is working now, even if the water heater is working now, like most of those homes do not have a brand new roof and a shiny new HVAC and all that kind of stuff. So what happens in that affordable range, what happens way too often is, like I said, the first few years is okay. And then after that, like one expense for the HVAC, for the roof, for whatever, like let's say that happens to you guys, you got a $10,000 HVAC bill on a $20,000, $30,000 property, then the tenant buyer might just be like, hey, I'm out. Or not,
I get what you're saying. It might be, they realize they bit off more than they can chew. And that, right. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that does happen. However, since we're selling it as is, it's really not our responsibility. Because if they decide to leave, right? If they decide to leave, they can leave and give us back the house. But so now we're going to sell it as is, letting them know, well, this furnace is not working, and or or like in my case, in this house that that I have now, I had to do an eviction on. So, and they really messed it up. And so I can try and sell it that way, but I am going to invest some money in it to get it, um decent looking for the next person. But I'm going to also increase the monthly payment that I'm going to charge and my down payment. And secondly, we are in landlord friendly states, so that
Yes.
we don't have to do the foreclosure. It's usually an eviction, and we usually do, Illinois is a little higher than say Missouri or Ohio and stuff like that. But you normally in those states, it's very, it's a short evictions span. So 60 days they're usually out, and you can flip the property again, and you still get the same. You get a down payment, and you get a monthly payment and stuff
Rinse,
like that.
repeat.
So
Pretty much rinse, repeat.
Right.
You're saying. Okay.
right. So yeah,
Okay.
until you find somebody that really wants to stay in. And I've been lucky. These four of them that I have, they seem like long termers because they're fixing the property up, they're painting, they're doing this and doing that. So I know that they and if they decide to leave, then the house is gonna look better than when I had it, except for this eviction one. This eviction one, of course, didn't. But yeah. So
Those are
but
some
I
good FYIs. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
need to make sure that Illinois is
Mhm.
landlord friendly, and Missouri.
Illinois is not bad, but it's not as good as Eric, and you probably would know more than me, but as far as but I know Missouri and Ohio are really good states and landlord friendly states. Illinois isn't as good, but
Okay.
I still bought in there. So
Okay.
yeah.
Those are great FYIs. Thank you so much. I'm
Mhm.
writing all this down because I definitely want to CYA on that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I've just been hanging in there, doing all my research and going slow. And definitely in my mind, Justin and Eric, you guys, I'm going to be emailing any questions because I'm here to learn, because I definitely, I don't want to be naive, stupid, or whatever about what I'm doing. I want to be smart,
Yeah.
So,
Sure. And we're always out there learning more ourselves. So it's a it's a trickle down. We're learning from somebody who's passing it on to us, and we pass on what we know to you.
Yep. Well, it looks like Meryl's not here on this one, but Justin, did you want to share some underwriting moments or lessons learned from deals this week or things we've done this week?
Well, one thing I will say, and I don't know if it's necessarily underwriting, but this is something to just be aware of, is that what we're seeing is the market is shifting, in quite a few different places. And what's becoming more favorable is buy and hold rather than fix and flip. Fix and flip, there's not as many buyers right now, and the market is softening in that regard for end buyers. So just be really cautious with your underwriting with fix and flip properties. You want to take into account what's going on with that region. You can do a little bit of basic research if you're looking into a property that you want to fix and flip, and you want to look at, again, I can't harp on this enough, you want to look at 90-day comps first. If you don't have any 90-day comps and you only have 6-month comps, there's not as much activity going on. And you want to look at the overall trend in that area. So regardless of your comps, if the overall trend is a year over year, drop of 5 or 10%, then if you're grabbing comps from 6 months ago, you've got half that potential year over year rate drop from that valuation. So if you're depending on 6 months ago to place what your property will be worth 6 months from now, that's a year, a year difference. So you need to adjust for a whole year of what you're seeing as the year over year drop in value in that region. Those are usually pretty easy to find. You just need to find a basic statistic. Redfin is good for producing that information. Obviously, the more local you are, the more you should know that anyway. But it's good to reference, general statistics as well and see, if you're seeing that drop year over year, then your comps 6 months that you're using from 6 months ago, you need to give them a haircut, solid 10% haircut across the board. If you're using something from a year ago, you need to be far more aggressive. 20%, slice it. Because if those are your best example of what your value will be 6 months from now, and your best option is from a year ago, that's not great. So, and there are definitely markets where that's going to be probably your best comp. And as an investor, you got to be really cautious about saying, oh, for sure, it's going to be worth what it was a year ago, because everything's appreciating, right? All the gurus say it's appreciating. Well, that might be a video they made a few months ago. And the reality is the market's always shifting, and we have to be aware of what's going on today, what's going on in the last 6 months. So yeah, generally speaking, real estate appreciates, but in the short run, you can have dips that will hold out for a long time or consistently, trend in that direction. So we're seeing quite a few properties have to go under an extension because there's just they have to lower their price, or they have to, sitting on market a little longer than what the comps when we started this project were saying. So you have to be cautious about how you approach those comps.
So,
No, go for it. Yeah.
Go for it.
So I've been looking into getting into the short-term private money lending. And so what precautions are people taking to because if lending six to 9 months, it could be a big shift. So how are you combating that and everything?
Well, one of the biggest things is what I just mentioned with research your region. So, we've had some regions where we're definitely seeing, a 7-8% drop year over year from last year to this year. So you need to be proactive in saying, well, for sure, I'm going to be aggressive in adjusting that. We usually will apply a 10% haircut to every comp that is in the range of 6 months old. Anything older than that, we're going to give a far more aggressive haircut. And we've had people argue with us, they're like, oh, why are you giving such a haircut? Well, because I can't rely on last year to predict 6 months from now, a half a year later, the value of your house. And they'll, inevitably argue the same talking points from every online guru, that they've heard from 6 months ago, or that they've been touting from the rooftops for years. And that is in general, real estate appreciates, but you can't count on that for your fix and flip. So you need to, as you're doing your comps, like I said, pull 3 comps. They're all 6 months old. Okay. So what is my price per square foot for each of those? I'm going to take a 10% haircut on all of that right off the top. There's 10% of value wiped away. I'm going to aggressively adjust, and then I'll figure out my price per square foot from that 10% adjustment and my averages, and I will make a discernment as to whether or not it really needs to command, which comp needs to be weighted heavy. Is it more likely to end up with this, final nice finish here? I think the other thing we have to be really careful about, and I'm learning this more and more and more as we go along, is how critical you have to be of their rehab, right? Because you can nail ARV, and a lot of properties fail because people don't nail their ARV properly. They look at 6 month or 12-month old comps and say, that's my value for sure. Plus they add, lots of optimism to that, excited optimism. They're like, oh, for sure. I think I can even make it better than anything that's sold. Oh, good luck. You're delusional. But they'll make an overestimated ARV, and that is one of the most that is probably 99.9% of the issues that happen come from just overestimating the value that your property is going to be achieving. But also, one of the reasons people overestimate is they underestimate the value of the type of rehab they're going to do. Are you completing the property with the same finishes as the rest of the neighborhood? Right. And that's hard for, sometimes that's a little bit hard to place. You have to do your best to estimate that. Looking at their past work is really important. This is why lending to brand newbies is not exciting to me as a private money lender. I'm not excited about lending to somebody who's never done a deal, because they are less likely to know, what does this neighborhood need? So making sure that you complete with finishes that command the same value as your comp is important. So let's just give a for instance. If your plan is, if I'm looking at all my comps and they have brand new kitchens, they've got the granite, countertops, and the property has, I don't know, an old butcher block, it needs to be replaced, it's not in good shape. The cabinets are clearly from the 70s or 80s, right? And their plan is to paint the cabinets. That's their plan. Then you can already just say, well, sorry, your rehab is ludicrous. It doesn't make any sense. You are not going to command this after repair value. It's actually going to be hard for me to peg where in the world you're going to land. I have no idea how the end buyer is going to perceive the value of your house if you don't actually fix up that kitchen to look like the rest of the neighborhood. It has to match. If it doesn't, it's a shot in the dark as to what your final end price you're going to command. We actually just had an investor. I think he's actually a pretty seasoned investor. We had a good conversation with, or Eric did earlier this week. He invested with us. He was relying a little bit more heavily on a partner. That partner created the scope of work. Scope of work was missing some key elements, and I think they missed the boat on a few of them. They got done with their rehab, and I think even this is part of the challenge too. Like, at the end of the day, their scope of work is, X amount that they're supposed to complete. And I think the general quality of it just didn't hit. I saw their finished work and I was like, ooh, all right, well, good luck on commanding the premium rate. I think you're going to get less than what I thought you were going to get. And it's still going to pay our debt, but I think you're going to get a little less because their kitchen was lackluster. It wasn't great. And that's a big piece, your kitchen, your bathrooms, you can't ignore those. So they ended up commanding a far, reduced value for that one. I think they probably lost some money on that property, but they made us whole, which was good. But I just think they, that was just a miss. It was a miss on that partner's part, verifying what this property needs against what do my comps actually show. So does that help? I know I just rattled on.
No, that's super helpful, Justin. It's kind of the stuff that nobody is like gets all excited about hearing, because everybody gets excited about the money. They're like, oh, we'll do a fix and flip, we'll make $20,000, $40,000, or I'll do a private money loan, I'll make this money. People get excited about the money they make, but when they jump in too fast and don't check these details carefully about, is my rehab reasonable? Is my ARV reasonable? Am I going to over fix it for the neighborhood? Am I going to under fix it? Like, you've got to know all of this stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be a bucket of ice water to the face. You put in not enough rehab or way too much rehab. I've been guilty of both in the past in my own fix and flips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I think that's one of the things that Eric and I balance each other well on. In that, Eric can see a lot of the big picture stuff. I tend to be a lot more nitty gritty. And I remember the very first time I started comping properties, I was paying attention to it. I was like, that's an old flooring. This cabinet's a little bit older. And Eric was like, oh, I thought it looked nice. And I was like, yeah, but in the context of the neighborhood, that's a problem. So are they planning to take care of that? Because it can't stay that way. And am I seeing that on their scope of work? No, I'm not seeing it on their scope of work. So they're missing something that's going to hit their perceived value. Huge. I'm not the biggest expert in this territory. I feel like the rehab component is this piece that I'm still getting more and more clarified in my mind, because every region is challenging. As you go into a different region, the finishes of a specific neighborhood can be very, very different. It's one of the challenges we're going to have to navigate with our Savannah property, is that Savannah's got these unique little pockets where it's like, oh, this right here is one neighborhood, and just this next street over, that's a little different, even though it's technically in the same neighborhood or whatever. So those are little aspects that are sometimes hard to peg in their granular detail, unless you got really great boots on the ground knowledge of that area.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin, for diving through that. Does anybody else have any other questions, comments, snide remarks?
Justin, Eric, the RV park operator got back to me and they said they're free anytime Monday afternoon. Would that work?
Yeah, send us a text, or I can text you back, and we can open up the calendar and find a spot to chat with them for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll text you.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else, guys, before we call it a Friday?
Yes, hi. I really would like to talk to you about possibly partnering with you all. So how can I go about that to see if
Yeah. Do you have my number? I don't know if I've got your contact saved. Let's reach out to me, send me a message. I'll put my number in the chat. Reach out to me and we can talk about it.
Okay. That's great.
Oh, before we go, what was your first and last name? I want to reach out to you.
Oh, it's Kim Flowers.
Okay.
I'm not sure if can I put in the chat too or no?
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Let me see.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the slow flip thing. I just need someone to bounce stuff off of.
Yeah,
and good luck with the RV park thing. I'm interested in that. That sounds interesting because that's what another thought process was on me too. So
I don't see where to put the chat. Technically
should be
challenged.
Yeah.
No problem.
It should be in the right-hand corner of your screen, although you're probably on your iPhone, right?
But I'm on my Android.
Okay, gotcha. I'm not sure the physical display on the Android.
Okay.
It's usually going to be down towards the bottom. If you tap your screen, it should show some options, and it should have something that looks almost like a text box.
Yeah, I see a smiley face. And then I see these options, but I see in-call. Oh, in-call messages. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, thanks.
Perfect.
All right, I'm gonna put it in real quick. 977. Okay. There, I put it in.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. Thank you all. So have a good weekend.
Yes. Take care, everyone. Great talking with you all, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, you too, guys.
thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. See ya.